Well, the search for the striker at Arsenal is still on, and we've gone ahead to get a story coming in through from High HTC that Arsenal have gone ahead obviously make contact with the agents of FC Porto striker that is Evanilson into the mix. Welcome to this channel. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Big story, USA has gone ahead obviously name their new national team coach after sacking the coach that they had that saw them perform arguably into the recently completed Copa America. They've named a new coach, and we're going to be letting you know who that new coach is. And lastly, Osacr Bobb, who really fractured his leg, has gone ahead obviously find himself flied to the Barcelona to obviously undergo that surgery. We thank God for the gift of life. The Muslims, we thank Allah for the gift of life, and obviously we are powered by none other than Mono Gadgets. Mono Gadgets are dealers in phones, laptops that is brand new, and even if you want used phones and used laptops, you can as well go ahead and obviously contact them onto that number +256 70 9988 665. And for your information, their used phones and used laptops come from the UK. That is Mono Gadgets for you. So let's obviously go to TikTok and follow them. Mono Gadgets is the place to be, and they'll obviously be giving you the best of the best that you guys deserve in as far as their services are really concerned. Now, Arsenal looks like they're trying to obviously do a lot of due diligence to get in a striker, and they're like, we are not going to be ransomed by the side of Sporting Lisbon, because Sporting Lisbon is calling in for 100 million euros, and they want to see this release clause obviously triggered and see to it that Coventry gets sorry about that, Coventry gets off its percentage into the mix. Now, we've been told by Arsenal have had contact with the agents of FC Porto striker Evanilson. Bournemouth are in talks for the Brazilian as a potential replacement for Dominic Solanke, but it also adds that Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, Tottenham Hotspur, Newcastle and West Ham. But it also adds that Arsenal... Alright, then however, only Bournemouth and fellow Premier League side Nottingham Forest have formalized their interest in the player. Now, let's all digest this very well. You know, Arsenal are really doing these contacts, if at all it's official, because they know to it that Bournemouth have gone ahead to show interest in signing Eddie Nketiah, and they've also gone ahead to show interest in signing Evanilson, meaning that in the hierarchy of Bournemouth, this guy is really leading the rest. All is the number one target to replace Dominic Solanke, that is Evanilson. And what Arsenal are doing is, let's try to delay the deal of Evanilson. To me, that's what I think. To say to it that we promise him to come to Arsenal, and then Bournemouth really come in for Eddie Nketiah, because Arsenal believe that they need a striker, and Evanilson is a very good striker. He has been linked for Arsenal for the previous 2 seasons, and I saw him play against Arsenal in the UEFA Champions League, and he's really a very good player, and earned himself a chance to play for the Brazilian national team at the recently concluded Copa America games, and he played only 1 game. But he's a left-footed centre-forward, energetic, tailor-made for the Premier League, 24 years of age, ticking the box of age at the club of Arsenal, and is 1.8 meters tall. You know, he's that striker that you'll obviously want to have in your team, because he is really great. And last season he played 27 games in the Liga Portugal, that's the League of Portugal, and he found himself really doing the needful. And what was the needful? He scored 13 goals and 3 assists, meaning that he had 16 goal involvements. Then in the Champions League, 7 games and 4 goals plus 1 assist, taking his tally to 17. Then in the Taca da Liga, he never really did anything there, and that means he scored 17 goals and put up 4 assists last season. When you compare him to Victor Gyokeres, obviously Gyokeres is really ahead of this player, but depends which kind of striker Arsenal want to bring in. Do they want to bring in a striker who is obviously going to get into the starting 11 straight away? That is it. All else, they are planning to give in a striker who is really gonna wait on the bench and not pressurize the manager to obviously get on the field of play. But Evanilson can be a very good option for Arsenal, but obviously Gyokeres is still on top of the list. But the question is, can Arsenal spend that amount of money on Victor Gyokeres? That is it. But this is another alternative, and when you see teams starting to list up alternatives, that means they are not really convinced with the money that they're supposed to be paying for a player known as Gyokeres. Remember, Gyokeres has a release clause of 100 million euros, that is 85 million pounds, and the team that is going to hit obviously see this Arsenal scouting the player is like, the player is good, but the amount of money is really a lot, you understand. And FC Porto is also really keeping its stance. They're not really allowing it to be ransomed by any club, and they want to obviously keep it there. So let's wait and see how that pans out. But Evanilson is wanted by Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth. That can be really a very huge turn-off to the fans of Arsenal, that why should we go in for a player who is wanted by Bournemouth, right? Is wanted by Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. I understand that very many Arsenal fans want Gyokeres, and I obviously prefer Gyokeres ahead of Evanilson, but I'm not the one responsible to recruit a player at Arsenal. But such stories are really gonna come in through not until Arsenal sign a centre forward. That is it. And we might be here when Arsenal have gonna hate to know what they did in the recent past, because we all thought that Arsenal were in for different left back altogether, and you saw to it that Carafiori emerged. For the midfielders, we thought it would be Yao Neves, or Douglas Luiz, or Bruno Guimaraes, and guess who they're in for? They're gonna hate to go in for Merino, and it's really a surprising summer transfer window for the side of Arsenal, and it coming out and obviously giving us the best of the best, who was really one of those moments that you are really surprised. You know, that's what they call catching you offside, and Arsenal is catching us offside in this summer transfer window, and no one really believes that they would go for Merino and they would go for Carafiori. And this is why we should obviously pay a lot of attention to this deal of Evanilson, that contact is going to have to be made, because they might really go in for Evanilson. I tell you, you know, with Edu telling us and Arsenal fans that he wants to obviously that everyone is really going to be happy, right, after everything is done and dusted. It shows you that they are willing, they're having a plan, and the list is really long. Remember, it started from Benjamin Sesko, and he really renewed his contract at RB Leipzig, right? Then it was followed up with Zexi, signed for Manchester United, followed up with Osimhen, still at Napoli. There is Gyokeres, and now there is Evanilson. So the likes of Ivan Toney into the mix. So a lot of players are really in here, and we are really excited to see to it that all goes on well as planned for the club of Arsenal. And whoever comes in through, that will be a very well scouted striker for the club of Arsenal. So we wait and see how that is going to be panning out. But looks like Arsenal have gone ahead to make contact on a Gyokeres alternative in there for you, and we are waiting to see whether there is any credible source that will come in through and obviously verify this source, because high TC is not one of those sources that you believe are really credible. You know, if it was the Athletic, the Mirror, the Sun, you would have gone ahead to say there is something in it, you know, but this is like a fourth, fifth tier source. But I've always told you that news is varying from their sources, and nowadays a story can come from anywhere. You get, it can come from anywhere, and we are waiting to see whether sources in Portugal are really gonna jump onto it and really confirm to us that Arsenal is into the mix. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. Rokani David is my name, and remember, we are powered by Mono Gadgets, dealers in phones and laptops, and used phones and laptops from the UK. Call them on +256 70 99 88 665, and that is Mono Gadgets for you. You can follow them on TikTok, that is Mono Gadgets, and the rest will be history. Now, from leaving the Arsenal side, let's obviously go to the side of Man City, that has been really tussling it out with Arsenal in the previous 2 seasons, to see it that obviously get themselves into the winning position. Now, There is this young lad called Osacr Bobb, left-footed. If you watch the game of Manchester United, he was the lad that twisted and turned Lisandro Martinez towards the byline and put in a very good cross, and Bernardo Silva headed that ball into the back of the net to make it 1-1, and it went to penalties, and when City went ahead to win it. Having gone ahead to establish himself into the first team of Man City, some sad news went ahead to obviously befell the player yesterday, and it was Jack Gyokeres told us that Osacr Bobb has fractured a bone in his leg and is now set for a prolonged spell on the sidelines. The injury is yet to be fully assessed. So he really broke his bone in the leg, and that is really very bad for a player like Osacr Bobb. Having gone ahead to come in through and promised a lot, he has gone ahead to break his leg, and this might really lead to Man City going into the market to obviously getting a player to come in through and replace this guy, because he might be out for 6 months, if at all I'm not mistaken. Now, we've been told again by Jack that Osacr Bobb is flying to Barcelona today with an operation on a fractured fibula due tomorrow. The Man City forward is initially expected to miss between 3 to 4 months. So let's wait and see how that pans out. But it's not business as usual at Man City. If you're a City fan, you obviously know how bad you've gonna hate to miss this guy. It really takes me back to where what happened to Amad Diallo last season. In the preseason, having gone ahead obviously have a very good season at the side of Sunderland, and everyone was like, it was his time to obviously get into the starting 11 for the club of Manchester United. Shit happened when he was playing against Arsenal, and he came off the bench and saw his ankle really get injured, and he was out, and he went ahead to play again for Manchester United in the year of 2024. You get? So this is the same thing happening with Osacr Bobb, but we don't know whether he'll come back as a confident and strong guy. But all we've gotten to know is that nothing is really going to stop Man City from obviously going in the market. Yesterday night, I brought a story of Man City indicating that they are really okay with their squad. But I believe with this news, it is really not going to leave them the same. It is really going to take them to where they have to spend money and really get in some more and good players into the mix. So that is it. We are getting in through from the side of Man City. Osacr Bobb is really injured, and we wish him a very quick recovery after that operation in Barcelona that is pain. But he's a youngster, and I believe his body is really gonna come up and obviously heal very quickly and regenerate his leg big and better. That is it. So that is it coming in through from Man City. And for the side of USA, it has been confirmed that your new national coach is Mauricio Pochettino. Pochettino becomes the new US national team coach or manager, leading the US to the World Cup of 2026. After contacts with several managers, former Chelsea and Spurs head coach says yes to proposal and project, as per reports in US overnight. Pochettino is back. Pochettino lost his club job at Chelsea, and I think he had to do a very tremendous job, but he fell out with the owners of Chelsea because he felt like they wouldn't obviously listen to him, and they wanted him to be a puppet at the side of Chelsea, and was like, how can I be a puppet here? Yet I all know that I'm really very knowledgeable at the game. So he really they separated with mutual under mutual contract, under mutual agreement, and these two really separated ways, and Enzo Maresca is now the new manager of Chelsea, who has a very huge hill ahead of him to obviously climb and prove to the people that he's really ready to turn around the side of Chelsea. So he becomes the new manager of the US national team, and the task given to him is to take them to the World Cup and obviously do a lot of work. I believe that US is really having some good players that if at all you really get them the best that they deserve, I think Pochettino can get something good out of them. Balogun is a US player. Pulisic is a US player. There is Robinson, who plays for Fulham, is a very good player. Then there is Trusty in there for you, Matt Turner. They're having a very good side, And I believe they just need a proper manager to fish out the best of the best from those players and see to it that everything really comes to pass and everything really moves on as planned into that side. So as it stands, it's really gonna really bring in a lot of work on the table to do, and nothing's really gonna stop the side of Pochettino from obviously progressing. I don't know what you guys think about Pochettino coming in through at the side of USA to become their national team manager. Do you think he's really gonna produce moments of magic in there for you? And don't you think it has been really a hurried return for him? You know, because I believe that he needed to rest a little bit. But Patrick Vieira, the former captain of Arsenal, was one of those people that we thought had gonna hit obviously drop his job at Strasbourg in France to obviously chase for this job, but it never really went on well. And it has been the former manager of Chelsea that has gonna hit obviously find himself into the mix. Maybe he wanted to keep himself busy and active, and you never know, another team will show interest in Mauricio Pochettino. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Throw a call upon for your reactions into the comment section below about Arsenal make Gyokeres alternative contact. What do you make about it? That is being Evanilson. And what are your thoughts about Oscar Bobb injury? Out for 3 to 4 months. For me, I believe he's going to be out for 6 months. That is it. What do you make about it? And obviously Pochettino being named the new all set to become the new manager of the United States of America national football team. Bye bye.